Shua Tov, a good week to you all. This week we begin studying the book of Devarim, the fifth of the 5 books of Moshe. And the portion begins, Eila hadvarim asher diber Moshe b'nei Yisrael be'ever hayarden. These are the words of Torah that Moshe spoke to the Jewish people on the other side of the Jordan. And the Talmud tells us, what is it meant by Eila hadvarim asher diber Moshe? These are the words of Moshe. That the book of Devarim is different than the first 4 books. For the first 4 books were the word of God. However, this book is the word of Moshe. And the question comes to mind, how is it possible that these should be the words of Moshe and not the words of God? We know that the entire Torah, was every single letter and every single word is the word of God, not the words of Moshe. And the Rebbe explains the difference between the first 4 books and the last book is, the first 4 books Moshe took dictation. Moshe was like a tape recorder. He repeated the exact words of God. The way God told it to him, that's the way he repeated it to us. And that's the way he wrote it down for us. As opposed to the 5th book, Moshe Rabbeinu heard the word of God, studied the word of God, internalized the word of God. And now when Moshe gave it over, it was as if Moshe was giving over to us and teaching us his words. But in essence, these also were the exact words of God. And the reason for it is that the Rebbe explains. Because being that the Jewish people were going to enter into the land of Israel, and they were going to become involved with the physical world and the mundane world, and it was necessary for them to take the words of Torah and to elevate the world and to affect the world and to make the world a dwelling place for God. The only way the Jewish people will be able to accomplish that was by having their teacher, Moshe Rabbeinu, bring Torah down into this physical world by internalizing the Torah into Moshe himself and then transmitting that level of Torah to the Jewish people. And now we are able to take the words of Torah, study the words of Torah, and to affect the world around us, to elevate the world around us, to make it a dwelling place for the Almighty. As we prepare for this coming Shabbos, the day of Tisha B'Av that's going to be postponed, may God bless us that the fast of Tisha B'Av is totally postponed, because Mashiach will come. We will celebrate the rebuilding of the 3rd Beis HaMikdash, and the day of Tisha B'Av will be the greatest holiday that the Jewish people ever celebrated. Amen v'amen.